Let's open up the session with a little bit of on the scale of 1 to 10. So 10 being the worst you can feel and 1 being okay. 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 So tell me what's going on. What's having you feel
Well,
this way right now?
well, me and Ed are completely done. And he's telling everybody that I'm on drugs and all kind of stuff. He's called Christine and Alex. He's called friends from Port Arthur. He's called my dad. He's called everybody to tell them that I'm on drugs. And he said that he was going to come up here because if I'm sleeping with him, I should be able to talk to him and not my counselor. And he's going to come up here and he's going to ask y'all, what am I telling y'all, and all kind of stuff, you know, like, and, well, he's back with his baby mama. He's moving to Vegas next week, and he's going to be with his baby mama. And I'm not more so hurt that he's gone. I'm more so hurt that, you know, like, that he's doing all this. You know, like, I truly, like, loved him and still do. And, like, he's, like, being evil. He's like, the Holy Spirit told me that you're on drugs, so you gotta be on drugs. I'm like, I'm not on drugs. I'm depressed. You know, he's like, you're losing weight and you can't keep your house clean, and what he said that you're not eating like you're supposed to. I was like, well, that's what stress does, you know? Like, that's what it does. It's not that if I wouldn't have, he's bringing up my past and my face, like, and I told him, I was like, if I didn't tell you about my past, like, you wouldn't even be saying any of this, you know, like, you would be saying, like, what's wrong, you know? And then he goes, I'm gonna go get checked because ain't no telling what you've been doing. You've been raped and all this other kind of stuff. I was like, oh my God, like, you know, like, that is painful for somebody, like, and I told him, I was like, you know, I confided in you and I told you about these things because I loved you, and, you know, like, and not for you to, you know, like, throw it in my face when you're mad, you know, like, and I told him, I was like, I didn't do anything to you, you know, like, if anything, I should be the one doing all this because you used me, you know, like, you used me, and now I'm seeing, you know, like, he used me until it was good with his baby mama, and, like, and if that's what you wanted, you could have just gone, you know, like, you don't have to do all this. Now I feel like it's a justification, and even if it wasn't for his baby mama, he's doing it as a justification to leave so that he could go on to his next victim, you know, and it's really hurtful. It's really hurtful, and it makes me angry, and I'm so sad, and, like, I don't know. I feel so frustrated and so, like, you know, like, cause everything is a lie, you know, and you're manipulating the situation to make it seem like I'm the one that's wrong when I'm not. You know, like, I've done everything for you. I've done everything, you know, to show you, to prove to you that I loved you over and over again, and, like, you're making up these lies to make it seem like I was doing something, you know. And I told him, I was like, you know, like, he said, I'm gonna go get checked. I was like, go get checked. Like, I applaud you on that. Go get checked. That's what you're supposed to do, you know. And not because you feel like I was doing something, because we've been together for 8 months, and if you haven't said anything, like, until now, you know, like, you're making up something in your head. You know, he's like, the Holy Spirit told me. I was like, like, you know, it's all demonic. It's all demonic. Like, you know, it's manipulative, narcissistic behavior, and it's crazy, you know, and I don't know.
Okay. So I'm hearing a lot of anger, a lot of hurt, a lot of sadness related to what happened between y'all. Um, do you feel like he's what do you feel like is the next step now? Like how are you coping with all of this?
I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, I'm not even, like, like, just been sitting in our house, like, and today, before I came here, I just called my dad. I was like, I can't sit in the house anymore because I feel like I'm going crazy, like, cause like, in all aspects, like, I truly did love him, and now I'm seeing that there was no love there. Like, you weren't with me to be with me. You were only with me for what I was giving you. And I don't even know. Like, I just want it to be over. I told him, like, just leave me alone and go on about your life. You got what you wanted. Like, you're going back to your family, like, just leave me alone. Like, leave me alone. That's all I want is for him to leave me alone so I could get through whatever this is. That's all I want is for him to leave me alone.
Has he attempted to contact you again?
Yeah, he came to my house because he left some dirty clothes. And he's like, Janika, all I ever want you to see is that I'm trying to help you. How are you trying to help me? Like, he came, I don't know if it was last night or the night before. I don't even remember. My days are so thrown off. Like, you're not trying to help me. He's like, call me if you need anything. And I don't need anything from you. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. That's all I want is for him to leave me alone so I could just go on about my life and, like, I don't know. But yeah.
So it's hard, right? I know we've had plenty of discussions about
His jacked up self.
about him and how he's been throughout y'all's time together, right? And you've recognized some of these things in him, like how he hasn't shown
He's
up for
jacked
y'all.
up.
Yeah. um
He's a horrible person. And I don't even want to say that because he's not a horrible person. Like, he's just not right he's not for me. Like, he's not what I need. He's not for me. And I wish I would have just let it be how it was, before and not, go back to it. Like, I feel like he preyed on me, like, that's horrible. And it's like that with everybody. I'm just going to be alone. I don't want to be with nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want no friends. I don't want no boyfriend. I don't want no girlfriend. I don't want nobody that I could get close to and, like, share vulnerable things with them for them to just throw it in my face. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm just going to come to you and we're going to have a counselorette, however you say that. And I'm tell you all my business and that's it. Because I can't do it anymore. It's mentally draining. I am so drained. I am so tired. I am so... And on top of everything else I have to deal with, Like, and if you really cared and you really was concerned, you would have been there, Like, even down to when my brother did that dumb stuff, Like, he wasn't emotionally available for me. And I should have known then. But no, maybe, maybe there's something else in there, But no, he's a manipulative narcissist. And he is the devil. He is the devil. Simple as that. Simple as that. Because how can you say oh, I don't read the Bible, but the Holy Spirit talks to me. How? When the Holy Spirit speaks to you through the word, how? You know, how can the Holy Spirit speak? That's your own demonic thoughts rummaging through your head and you believe them. I could say, oh, I could think about, oh, um, I could say, oh, I think my brother probably killed somebody. But that don't mean it's the Holy Spirit. It's a thought that ran across my mind. You know, like that ain't everything that runs across your mind ain't the Holy Spirit. You know, and oh, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a valuable lesson that I've learned to never let a man that don't have nothing for himself come into my life, you know. Now, if I ever decide to be with somebody again, I'm making a checklist. Do you got a job? What kind of money you make? Do you got an apartment? Do you got a car? Do you got kids? Do you take care of them? Let me see the proof. Are you on child support? Do you talk to your baby mama? I want to know everything because this is simply just insane. And I cannot put myself through any more of this stupid shit anymore. Like, man, like, and it's all my fault, you know, because I allowed him to do that to me because I saw all the signs clear as day, but I walked right on over him. Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. I seen all of the signs, you know, but I allowed him to do that, and that's what I get. So it's something that I have to deal with, and I have to get over it, and it hurts, and you know, and but now I'm on drugs. No, you were the drug. You were the one stressing me out and causing depression and turmoil and chaos in my life, you know, and amongst other things. But like for you to say that I'm doing drugs is crazy. Like that's a really serious part of my life, you know, like, and I would never do anything to jeopardize losing my son, you know, and that's first and foremost. And for him to like spread those rumors, like you're making it like I don't care about my son, I don't care about my life, you know, like and I do, you know, like I haven't touched a drug, you know, like in almost 8 years, and that's the God honest truth, you know. And for somebody to like spread those lies and all that other kind of stuff, that's crazy. So I don't know. I'm just so sick of it, you know, like that I put myself through this, and you know, like, and that's with everybody that comes in contact with my life, you know, like I just allow them to just rummage and run through me, and you know, like I like even the night before he left, I knew something was going on because he was acting so weird, you know, and I told him, I was like, you know, my vagina isn't feeling right, you know, like I told him my vagina is swollen, so I thought, you know, I think it was a yeast infection because I had been on antibiotics because I had a bacteria infection. You know, I had bacteria vaginosis. So I think and every time about to start my cycle, I get a yeast infection. And you know what this man told me so selfishly? Well, you probably just need to have sex. I was like, that's probably the last thing I need. And even still, after that, I had sex with him, and it was so painful. You know, so painful because of the yeast infection that I had, and he gave he didn't even care. He didn't have sex with me one time. He had sex with me 3 times that night. Even after I told him, like he was like, why is your vagina doing that? It's like it's pushing me out. I was like, well, I told you that my like it was irritated and like my vagina was in pain, you know? So that's why. He's like, oh. So then he woke me up again. Let's have sex. And then again at 4 o'clock in the morning, he's like, let's have sex. I'm like, I told you, like I can't. He had no care in the world. And then the next day, that's when he spreaded all those rumors, like like I'm on drugs and this, that, and the other, and all that other kind of stuff. Like, ugh, stupid. Like like I just keep allowing myself to just go through all these things, and like, and mm, it is what it is, though. I don't
Unique, I hear you, say these things, and this is not the first time that we've talked about, all of the pain that has been caused by y'all's relationship, right? Like he has been he's been questionable, right? Like there's been a lot of questionable actions that he has said, not only said to you, but like done to you as well. And we go back to this recurrent theme, like, why do I keep allowing these things to happen? Why do I keep, and I know I've explained this before, but when somebody has undergone trauma, it's very hard for you to distinguish between like making the right choice and a choice that's, not to say questionable, but one that's kind of hard to understand why you're making that choice, right? Um, and so I'm wondering why, not to say why, but what is what is the next step now? Like what is going to happen now that he's gone?
know. Like, what do you mean?
Like what is going to happen? Like what do you want? You I hear you say that you want him to be gone, like just leave me alone, just be out the picture, like don't come back. But I also know that, he just came to visit you. When does he leave again to Vegas?
And I think like a week, like next week or something like that.
Okay.
He's not coming. No, no. I do not want him back in my life. His number is blocked. He's blocked on social media. He gave me my key. He's not coming back. Like I don't want him back in my life. And as far as like um, anyone else, like I don't think I could handle a relationship. I just I need to heal, and I say that, but like I jump in these relationships from relationship to relationship and never heal from this or that or that, but and I pray that God gives me strength to just, like be alone, and learn how to be alone with myself, and like learn how to love myself. I pray that, like he gives me strength to do that, but who's to say like what'll happen in the future, and and I just pray that, like I'm able to be strong enough to not get into another relationship out of being lonely. Because today I was like so lonely. I couldn't be in the house, so I called my dad, and I pray that like someone's always available. Because that's when my thoughts start ramaging, and like that's when I start calling people and stuff like that. And um, I don't know. It's just like I don't know why it's so hard for me to just be alone. Like I, it's so hard. Like even like now that Ed's gone, Caden's sleeping in the bed with me again. Like even to that sense, you know. Um, I don't know. Oh, and by the way, I tried to write the story, but I couldn't gather my thoughts enough to even sit down and concentrate on writing.
It's okay. You're going through a lot. There's a lot of emotions right now that are going that you're experiencing.
Yeah.
So I can't expect you to be able to write the letter that we discussed if there's so many other things that are occurring.
Yeah, I always got some shit going on.
I think what's important for me to not get, but understand is how you're going to cope.
Yeah.
That's what's most important because I want you to act on healthy ways of coping, right? I mean, he's gone, you blocked him, he's moving on with his life. He already has somewhere to go,
Yeah.
right? But you're still here. You have a son to take care of. You have a job.
Yeah.
You want to keep a roof over your son's head. And when we think of negative ways of coping, it can interfere with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like this weekend, I just wanted to get away, but guess who ain't got no money because they spent it all on this dumbass dude. You know? Oh God. Ugh. Anyway, but I don't know. Maybe I just need to clean my house and pray, and I'm gonna go to church this weekend with Christine and Alex, and
Did you go this past weekend?
no, because all this bullshit was going
And so when Ed called Christine and mentioned the things that.
on. Well, he didn't. They didn't answer. Well, he even said that I was having sex with Alex, Christine's husband. He was like, what kind of pastor doesn't answer the phone when someone's telling them that it's an emergency? You must be having sex with him. I was like, you have got to be the most delusional person I know. Like, for you to think that I am having sex with someone's husband that I claim is they're my family. Like, I thought of Alex for a long time as a dad that I never had, you know? I love them and adore them so much. I would never, I would never look at Alex in that way. I love them as my family. And that I was like, you are crazy, you are insane. I just oh, well, me and Kaden went on Tuesday. Tuesday we had went to
The fireworks?
yeah, somewhere downtown. Yeah, it was a little thing downtown we went to, and we didn't stay for the fireworks because I just didn't feel good. Me and Ed were going through that. I was the day he claimed that he found out I was on drugs and stuff like that, and he told me I was going to plasma to shoot up, and like, you sound insane. Like, I go to plasma because I cover up shooting up. I was like, you would, if I was on drugs, or if I had anything to do with drugs, especially shooting up, I mean, you would definitely know. Because I have dishes in my sink, and I don't dress the way I used to and stuff like that. That's no signification that I am doing drugs. Like, I told him, I was like, you looked up drug use, now look up depression. He's started sending me like definition of somebody on drugs. This is this is the symptoms of somebody on drugs. No, you're looking out of a book. You know, he's like, you're rapidly losing weight. I was like, shoot, I wish I'm still fat. If I was on drugs, I went from a size 5 to a size 16 when I got sober. You know? Like, and now, shoot, I ain't gonna tell you what's my size. But it sure ain't none of that, you know? Um, but, you know, like, it's just, it's well beyond him leaving at this point, you know? Like, I thank God he's gone now, you know? But it's the damage that he's doing now that he's gone, you know? I'm just trying to help you and pray for you. I don't want your prayers, Satan. You know, I don't want you to pray for me. Do not pray for me. Don't think about me. None of that. None of that. You know? Like you don't like I don't want nothing from you. Like I don't want nothing from you. I don't want to talk. I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing from you. You know, and I just pray that God gives me strength, not to say, you know, to give me strength for him, like not for him to come back, because that's dead and void, you know, like because you did too much, you know, you did too much, and you went to everybody, so I'd lose all my support if I ever went back to him, you know. um but just to give me strength to not go looking for something else, you know, like, you know, like it's like an addiction, you know, like when I got off drugs, I went like I turned to coffee, you know, like, you know, like it was never like a truly a uh um like uh like true, like an addiction that truly just went away, you know, like I don't do drugs anymore, but in certain parts of my life, you know, I portray an addict, you know, like whether it be with men, or, you know, like drugs were my comfort, you know, like I turned to drugs in loneliness, you know, and now then I turned to cigarettes and coffee, you know, like I would take, when we were in rehab, you know, like they had, I don't know how they came up with this concoction, but it made you feel like you were high. Like that you would take the instant coffee and pour a bunch of instant coffee and like mix it with just a tad bit of water. It was disgusting as I don't know what. But it made you like, you know? And I turned to that when I got into rehab. It wasn't a drug, you know, but it was a form of a drug, you know? Because it made me feel like something, you know. And when I got out of rehab, you know, I went to the treatment facility, and, you know, like I turned to people, you know, like people made me feel good, you know, and not in an unhealthy way, but in a way like I didn't, like I was never alone when after I got out of rehab. Like never, I was never alone. I went from rehab to a baby, you know, and after I left the maternity home, you know, I did good by myself. You know, I would have company over, not men. I didn't deal with men for a long time after I had Caden. But, you know, like people that I knew from the rehab, like, you know, like ministering to people and stuff like that. And, you know, and then I met this girl, Jessica. I told you about her. And that's when I got involved with sex. I didn't have sex. When I found out I was pregnant up until Caden was like 2 or 3 years old, I didn't have any kind of sexual relationship with anyone. No sexual relationship, no relationship, nothing. You know, and I want to get back to that life because, you know, like it wasn't an unhealthy attachment, you know, like I didn't feel lonely. I felt fulfilled in Christ, you know, and I would go to church every Sunday, and I would go to Bible study, and I would have these women come to my house, and, you know, like I wasn't doing any of the things that, you know, like that obstructed my mind, and I just pray, like that I could get back to that same part of my life because, to be honest, like when I was at the maternity home with Christine and Alex, like those were the happiest times in my life, like, and I want so bad to get to that part where Kaden saw me happy and like I wasn't like an emotional wreck and stuff like that. I was available for him, and like I would cook with him and bake with him, and like he loved those things. And now that all this obstruction and all this stuff God came into my life, like I don't have the energy for my child anymore, and I don't know. I just I don't know.
Have you been open with Christine about your feelings? Like, you know, does she know everything that happened with you and Ed? And have you talked, like, spoken to her about that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm very open with Christine because Christine is like my other source of outlet with positive feedback. Like unlike my mom, she's like, Jake, you don't need to be feeling that kind of way and all this other kind of stuff. But Christine is just like my sound voice. I absolutely love Christine. I adore her so much. Like and she's my sound voice. She's not available as much as she used to be available because of course she has her own family and I can't be mad at her for that. But when we do talk, it's always great talking with her. Yeah. So.
So the period of time when you were in the maternity home, and when you felt like you were at your best, what happened in that time? What changed for you to? Was it when you met Ed?
No, it was when I met Jessica.
Okay.
Um, when I met Jessica, um, I started drinking. Not, well, yeah, maybe so. I started drinking, and it was during the time. I think it was some hurricane or some flood or something. It wasn't Harvey. It was we were supposed to have this big hurricane or big storm, and it never happened. But and I would go to these groups every like 2 or 3 times a week. I would go to these groups that the maternity home provided. Like they would have aftercare groups, and I would go to these groups, and Jessica was on one of the groups, and she was like, and I was a woman of ministering. Not, I wouldn't say I was ministering, but in a way, in a sense, like ministering, like women because I was in a better place at that time, and just some like for them to come over, I'd cook and stuff like that, and so she had came over. Well, she was on the group, and she's like, I'm scared and I don't want to be alone. Can somebody let me come stay at their house? And I was like, sure, you can come to my house. And like she was cool, like at that time. And then she started inviting men over, and I tell her, like I ain't had sex in 2 years, like like I don't partake in any of that. She's like, girl, come on, like whatever. So when we started having threesomes, me and Jessica, and that's how it all kicked off, um, and so instead of filling the voids with Christ and like positive things, I started doing more obstructive things, not in the sense of like, oh, I'm out here wilding, but I started inviting men over, um, and again, because I mean that was my life at one point when I was on drugs, but instead it's not. I'm not doing drugs. I'm doing the things that someone would do when they're on drugs, displaying those signs or whatever, like all these men things like that. And so I was in my old apartment, but after I moved to this apartment, I swore I wouldn't invite any men because I had invited so many men, and I vowed to God that this would be a sacred place for me and Kaden. I would never be that person who invited men to their home and have sex with men and all this other kind of stuff because I saw my mom do it. You know, she doesn't know, but you know, like I saw men coming in and out of the house all the time. You know, we were supposed to be asleep, but you know, like it's still an obstruction to your home. You know, and I swore I would never do it, um, and so I moved because I was raped by Caden's dad, and I got a vow act to move apartment. So I moved, and I didn't have a relationship. Not even like months. Like you know, I mean, I got on Facebook dating and immediately started seeing people. You know, I had gotten a relationship with this guy, and before Ed, and it just didn't work out. He was just too much for me. You know, like he wanted me to be too in tune with his emotions and the love bomb word. Like we hadn't even known each other so long, and I just wasn't into him. He wasn't. Like it was just something to fill that void. Like somebody was giving me attention. You know, like and so I stopped talking to him, and then I started talking to Ed, and yeah, so that's why that's how Ed came about. You know, just like filling voids. You know, Jessica was a void. You know, like filling a void. Like she was there. You know, like we had a good time. She was at my house all the time. Like she had an apartment. She could have just been living with me. That's how often she was at my house. You know, and you know, and like it would have been a real friendship if men wouldn't have gotten involved. You know, and um, I I don't know. But it's just an ongoing pattern, you know, like the fear of being lonely and don't, because quite, I've never been by myself since, like, when I got off drugs. I mean, when I was on drugs, I've never been by myself, you know, and when I got off drugs, got sober, like I was always staying with someone. You know, like I went from rehab to the maternity home. I went from drugs to being pregnant. And, you know, like no matter how much I thought I healed and worked on stuff, like, you know, like I never healed. Like I just added more trauma and more trauma and more trauma and more trauma. Like on top of, so that trauma was forgotten about, you know, like, so that's what it was. It wasn't healing. It was like that trauma was forgotten, add a new trauma. That trauma was forgotten, add a new trauma. That, like, throw that trauma out the window. Just start a fresh slate. Oh man, and I'm really tired because poor child, my poor child. You know, like I don't want that for him. You know, I don't want him to know his mom as, you know, like this person who's always sad or, you know, like never, like, I want someone to be emotionally available for me. So I need to be emotionally available for him, you know? And I don't want him to say, oh, my mom was never emotionally available for me, you know? In the aspects of, I show him love and things like that, but, you know, just like taking time out with him like I used to. And, you know, like he loves to cook in the kitchen. He loves to, you know, like he loves to do things that I do, you know, like wash clothes when I'm washing clothes. He's like, Mommy, let me help you. when I'm washing dishes, mommy, let me help you. And if I'm not in the mood, I'm like, Caden, just go play. You know, and Caden has his room full of toys and he does not, he's never in his room, you know, and this weekend he's like, mommy, can you come and, I feel so bad because, and not, he doesn't say, can you come and play with me? He's like, mommy, can you come and watch me play? Because I'm not available for him, you know, and, mommy, can you come watch me play in my room? Instead of like him saying, mommy, so his mind is already trained, you know, and it's sad, you know, and yeah. But, anyway.
And and I hear the things that you want to be for Caden. You've expressed them many times, right? Um, and again, I'm wondering why, not why, but the way that you're going to move forward now, right? It's going to take some time. It will take some healing to. What are you going to, the steps you're going to take, so that way you're not, searching for that next thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Just spend time with Kaden. Spend time with my family, and I guess in those hard times, I don't know. I need to start implementing more writing and going outside, and just like occupying my time, whether it be getting back into baking and things like that. I was so like baking was such a big thing for me. Like I love to bake because I love to, like Caden loved it too, and he loved junk food. So, like baking and stuff like that, we would always make cakes. Like I've made so many cakes and so many different cookies, and my dad had bought me a KitchenAid, for my birthday because that's how much I would love to bake. And I haven't put that thing to use since I've been in my new apartment, and it's been a year now. So like just getting back into those things, but I don't want to say but like it requires so much energy now, like and and I just have to pray and start back reading my Bible and all those things that made me happy and not searching for the next high, So.
And there's no communication with Christina anymore, right?
Huh?
I mean, not Christina. There's no more communication with Jessica anymore, right?
Me?
Yeah.
No. Well, she called me from a different number yesterday. Yesterday to tell me to brag about yeah, you now you suffering. I told you that, man. And I'm like, oh man, I don't like it. So he called her and told her all about how I was on drugs and all this other kind of bullshit. So, yeah. No, but no more. No, there's no. I don't have any more communication with Jessica, and quite frankly, I don't want any more communication with Jessica. Um, Neither Ed or anybody else for that matter. Like I am in a point in my life where I truly I don't want it. I don't want it, like, because it's so exhausting. Like and because I'm not a place of being healed, like it's gonna continue to be so exhausting. And I'm at a point in my life where I just want to work on myself. Like I really do. Like I'm getting too damn old for this shit. You know, like I I can't keep repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. Like I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I mean, This is so exhausting. Like I am mentally and physically and emotionally exhausted. I am so exhausted. Like it doesn't and I can't even sleep at night. That's how exhausted I am. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning just staring at the freaking wall. You know? Like ugh. I'm just so over it all, you know? And I just wish that, you know, like I wish there was that I was one of those people who just didn't care. You know, I wish I was one of those people who didn't care. You know, but I care too much, you know? And you know, like I want people to love me and like me and stuff like that. And, you know, but I I'm that is exhausting. You know, that is so exhausting. So I'm so done with everybody, and I'm getting rid of that cat tomorrow because I'm done with the cat too.
What did the cat do?
Well, he's just there. No, I'm just done. Like I'm done with everybody. Anyway, well, we're this weekend. I was hoping that Christine was back from out of town because I was gonna ask her if we could come and spend the night over there, but they're not back. So I'm gonna come up with another plan. You know, um, I know for sure that they're gonna be back out here tomorrow. So we're gonna go to church on Sunday, and I don't know. I just gotta find something to keep my mind occupied. To be honest, that's all. That's all it is. Like I just have to, you know. I might even turn my phone off or something like that. You know, like not pay my phone bill or something. You know, because that's where I get in a lot of trouble. But then I don't want to go crazy.
How will I remind you of our appointment?
Well, yeah. I'll remember. You know, but I something something's gotta happen. Like, you know, I need to put strict boundaries up for myself because, you know, like it happens like this all the time. You know, like I'm so done. You know, like I'm so done, and then a day or two later, here I go. You know, so I have to keep myself occupied and do something for myself. You know, like I get so like, you know, like depressed, like I just want to lay in bed. Sometimes I'll just lay in the bed and look at the TV and it's not even on. You know, like Ed used to say, why are you just sitting in here in the dark? You know, because sometimes like my thoughts get so consuming, I'm just sitting there, like, you know, like not trying to turn them off, you know. So, you know, like I need to be mindful of, you know, like myself, you know, in that sense, you know, and you know, just pray and ask God, you know, just pray and ask God to just give me strength every day, and you know, and everybody's not gonna be available all the time, so I gotta do it for myself, you know. So yeah.
I mean, I think that's a great idea. I mean, I think that you focusing in on yourself, engaging in that self care, all of that is so important,
Yeah.
right? Especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find, again, those healthy ways to deal with the loss that you just experienced. Because if we look at it, it is a loss. Like you said and openly shared that you loved Ed, right? You mentioned that y'all were together for 8 months. You know, y'all shared a space together. Um, do I wish he would have done more for you? Yeah, yes, but that's not my, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that you wanted more and you expected more.
Yeah.
But it's important to focus on you, Janique.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, that's where it's at right now. You know. Mm. There's no way that I could give somebody else, me, and there's nothing left to give. Like as I mentioned before, I'm so exhausted, I'm so exhausted. But
And you may be very well exhausted right now. And I mean, after dealing with a lot of that stuff that you've endured, I mean, that's logical for you to be tired and feel the emotions that are flooding you right now.
yeah,
Um, and I think that it's again, it's important for you to focus on yourself, focus on Kaden.
yeah,
And if you need help from Christine, I mean, it's important that you reach out to her, and she's that support system that you have outside of here. Um, talk to her, openly share how you're feeling as well.
yeah. I will. I will. Hopefully, I don't know. I wanted to just ride out somewhere, but
So what's gonna happen if he calls? Oh, well, you blocked him, right?
yeah, he's blocked.
Okay.
He can't
Okay.
call. Yeah, but he could sure pop up, cause that's what he did. Night night before last. Um, he's blocked, so he couldn't call me. So I'm getting out the shower and I hear somebody knocking on my door. Like, who the heck is knocking at my door at 9 o'clock at night? And it was him, and he's like, I'm just coming to get my clothes. He's like, okay, well, I'll get them for you. And I didn't let him in. And of course, he had a mouthful to say, and I was just like, it is what it is. And I told him, it is what it is. I was like, that's what you believe, that's what you believe. And then he's go on to how spiritual he is. And anybody that's spiritual is not going to keep reiterating how spiritual they are. Like, you want to believe that you're spiritual, but you're not. And anyway.
Well, if that is the case, if he does come back again, just remember that you have the choice, right?
Yeah.
You have the choice to, you can set the boundary. Like, you don't have to open the door. That's your house. You know, you have the choice over how you feel. So, are you going to let him in and, let him speak to you? And
No, no, no. I don't I don't have anything to say to Ed. He has no reason to come back. Like, his clothes are not there. Nothing of his belongs at my house anymore. So he has no reason to come back. And I pray to God that he doesn't come back. But if he does, I'm just gonna pretend like I don't hear the door. You know. And hopefully Caden sleeps so Caden don't open the door. Because he got a bad habit to open that door when he hear knocks on the door. So.
well, I, I'm going to just keep suggesting that you reinforce those positive things that you can engage in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even when it's hard. I know it's hard, it's difficult, and it will be difficult for the next, I don't know, few weeks.
Yeah.
But trying to keep the behavior activation up, engage with people who are positive.
Yeah.
Do things with Caden. He needs you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions?
No.
How are you feeling?
Horrible.
Yeah. That's normal.
But I'll be